After our tank has been destroyed, my painful journey via several first aid stations and frontline field hospitals went toward home. I still see myself limping alongside my commander's stretcher towards our own line. Around us, banging and whistling, the Stuka dive bombers have finally arrived and are bombing the town. Smoke everywhere. I feel the blood loss. It's getting increasingly difficult to lift my legs. I must not give up. Soon I will have made it. After an endlessly long time, we arrive at a depression where an ambulance is parked. Here, 20 wounded are already lying about and are being cared for by a doctor and several medics. The stretcher is set down and I collapse right next to it like a wet bag. Medical Sergeant Yannick, a stout Bavarian, approaches and kneels in front of me. My ears are still deaf from all the battle noise, but as through a veil I can hear the question he's asking me. Where else had I been hit? What's with my leg? Were there any other holes anywhere in my body? I'm thinking I'm well taken care of, but I feel like I'm in a fog. The sergeant reaches to my side and shows me his bloody hand. There's a hole. Go, lie down. He grunts at me with a Bavarian accent. There I'd been hit after all. I'm lying on a tarp. A doctor comes to me. Carefully, I'm being rolled onto my side, and the doctor remarks to the medical sergeant that it was just a clean bullet penetration through my side. Nothing vital had been hit. To privates apply a wound dressing that plugs up the hole. Before I noticed, I'm lying in an ambulance with others and we rumble on the rear area. I fall asleep despite the bumps. When I come to, I'm being carried into a building with a red cross at the entrance. Amazingly, I'm hardly in pain. Apparently, the end must be near and I won't be able to tell Gudrun how fond of her I am. Again, things are getting dim around me. I awake and feel miserable. I'm terribly thirsty and try to recognize anything. Obviously, I'm in a room with other casualties. In the dim glow of randomly placed lamps, everything seems like a dream. A corporal approaches me and asks for my name and rank. After checking my papers, he asks me how I'm doing. I was thirsty, but otherwise I was still alive, I answered. He replies that I'd been lucky. All shrapnel had been removed from my arm and leg, and the hole in my side had also been plugged. On the next train for casualties, I'd be going back to the homeland, but only after a doctor had found me fit for transport. Another 3 days pass, and I'm hoping it will soon go on toward home. Severely wounded arrive here daily, and their screams go down into your bones. Many of them die here despite the best efforts by our doctors. In the bed next to me lies a young fellow soldier whose right arm had been blown off. He tells me about the day when it happened. It was not far from my location of deployment. As a member of an anti-tank gun crew, he had been responsible for the ammunition which he had been carrying and handing over to the loader. In the ensuing firefight, they had destroyed several Russian light tanks and were feeling like the devil may care. Instead of slowly disengaging from the enemy when pressure had increased on their position, they stayed in their forward position with their 5 cm anti-tank gun and kept engaging targets of opportunity. Unfortunately, their flanks had withdrawn and they received Russian fire not only from the front but also from the side. In the chaos, he suddenly been flung through the air, and when he wanted to get back up to retrieve more ammunition, he noticed that his right arm was gone. He couldn't fathom this since he'd felt no pain. The rounds had hit his anti-tank gun and its entire crew was killed. He hurried and made it back to his unit. There, he was taken care of immediately. However, as I wake up the next morning, he's lying dead in his bed. Whatever happened during the previous night, I didn't notice it. 2 days later, I'm in a hospital train headed back home. I'm already doing better, and I hope that my tank commander will pull through as well. For almost 2 weeks, I've been committed to a hospital to recover from my injuries. My arm and leg have healed up quite quickly, only my gunshot wound doesn't quite want to heal. I have plenty of time to do some reading and sketching. I write many letters to Gudrun. Unfortunately, the hospital is too far away from my hometown and therefore I don't have any visitors. In the 3rd week, I'm finally allowed to go on convalescent leave home. I was granted 10 days. I'm happy when the train pulls into my hometown. With joy, I'm being received by my entire family. My father is mighty proud that I'm returning home wearing the Iron Cross 2nd class already. Mother cries a lot, but probably for joy. Gudrun is also there. The days at home are wonderful. The nightmares, however, keep bringing back the fateful day I lost my tank. But I must look ahead and hope to be in front of the enemy again soon. A letter arrives from my commander, Master Sergeant Hansen. He made it and survived his injury. His field cap won't fit quite right anymore due to the new parting on his head, but otherwise everything was all right, and he would be headed back to the regiment soon. I received my marching orders and had to report to the tank unit training school. There's a crash course on the long-barreled Panzer IV, specially for tank gunners, since target acquisition with a long gun is a bit more complex. I already know that our regiment is supposed to be equipped with the new tanks, and I'm looking forward to being trained on the new gun. Much too fast, these next 4 weeks go by. During the last weekend, I managed to get engaged to Gudrun. Now it's back to the east, where General Winter takes care of friends and foe. The division has retreated to their winter positions, and the fighting has stalled, as has the entire front in the winter cold.
After a tank had been destroyed, my painful journey via several first aid stations and frontline field hospitals went toward home. I still see myself limping alongside my commander's stretcher toward our own lines. Around us banging and whistling, the Stuka dive bombers have finally arrived and are bombing the town. Smoke everywhere. I feel the blood loss, it's getting increasingly difficult to lift my legs. I must not give up, soon I will have made it. After an endlessly long time, we arrive at a depression where an ambulance is parked. Here, 20 wounded are already lying about and are being cared for by a doctor and several medics.